Hey everyone, thank you for joining me. First of all, can I tell you the amount of technical difficulties that I've had trying to create these powerful nuggets for you guys right here? And it's just amazing. I'm telling you, the devil is busy. No, I really mean that. But we're going to move forward, and I know you guys will be blessed by these strategies for your business and your life. Now, first of all, this is the part one of the series, and I'm really excited to bring you guys this, these pieces that I use to help govern my life and my business. So we're going to hop right in these things. First, I want you guys to acknowledge your small gains. Acknowledge your small gains. Now, what do I mean by that? Oftentimes, there are people, there are places, and there are things that all want us to just kind of neglect and minimize our gains. But I want you guys to celebrate small gains. So whether that's losing a pound, okay, whether that is getting rid of one small credit card, right? You know, that little credit card that you have with $25 on it, and you just spend it, and maybe, I don't know, you waited forever to pay it back or what have you, and now it's finally paid off. Celebrate that, because you know why? That is the beginning of a really good positive trajectory. So celebrate those small gains. Now here's a caveat. I don't want you to get stuck there. Okay, how many of us know those folks who are still celebrating their high school achievements, right? In place of them not doing what they're called to do right now? See, that's the thing. So you don't want to get stuck there, but you do want to acknowledge and celebrate even small gains, right? Because I think it does the heart good. It feels good to have something go right. And we're going to rehearse or practice something. It may as well be something positive that'll feed our brain. It's kind of like creating a positive muscle memory in our brains, our hearts, and our spirit. So I want you guys to celebrate your small gains, okay? The second thing, the second strategy that I want to share with you all for an amazing business and life is to not be afraid to go it alone. Now, what do I mean by that? I cannot tell you the amount of times that I'd want to partner with someone, right? Or I'd want them to hop along and to take part in my vision some kind of way. I mean, that's a good thing, right? But sometimes, you know, it may not be their time. It may not even be for them. Let me give you an example. When I started the GUM Network, I was sharing with a really good client of mine that she needs to, start this media platform because she had been talking about it for a while. And it isn't that it's not part of her future, but that was not the time. And really what God was doing was he was downloading to me what I needed to do. You know, if I look back at the many years I've always interviewed people. I'd be somewhere at some, conference or what have you, be there for one thing, but then something else. It wasn't a derailment. It was the fact that it was what they were sharing resonated with me. And I don't want to talk more about it and have them answer questions and be able to tell stories and have them tell their story, because I know that it blessed me and I want to share with others. That was kind of the beginning. And I've been doing that for years. That was, for me, that was the GUM Network, really telling these amazing stories and giving platform to these amazing voices and people. So what I was sharing with that particular young lady, it wasn't for her at that time. So don't be afraid to go things alone, because that thing may be the catalyst that they need to do what they have to do, whether that's to, join you or to do what they are called to do in their particular, purview. So don't be afraid to go it alone. And again, if they don't join you, that's okay. That's really okay. If they never, join or what have you, don't feel that you always need this third party validation. There's some folks who never do anything because they feel like, well, if I do it myself, it somehow doesn't count. No, it does count. How many businesses or initiatives or missions were started by people who just took the call and said, you know what, I'll do it. They said yes. They say yes to what God had them to do. They didn't wait around for third-party validation. Of course, we need others oftentimes, right, as a part of that vision. But I'm talking about waiting and abandoning many times the things that in your heart God has called you to do. Okay, so don't be afraid to go it alone. Okay, and here's the thing, especially if you're the one financially responsible for it. There was a conference I did years ago, and I remember taking some advice. Honestly, it's my fault for taking the advice, but I remember taking the advice. But here's the thing, it was my name on the contract. So at the end of the day, I was the one responsible for, all the decisions really. And I remember thinking, should I be doing this the way that they're suggesting? They have no skin in the game. Why am I taking this advice? But again, I kind of wanted that camaraderie. I wanted them to feel like they were a part of, although it was only my name on the contract. But moving along, the third strategy I want to share with you all for a successful business in life is to keep up with the pace. Keep up with the pace. So whether you are perhaps a homemaker or a second-time career person, or you're working in the industry and perhaps want to go in business for yourself, no matter what role you may play, keep up with the pace. So let's go with the example of the homemaker, for instance. Many women and some men are at home working with their families, right? I don't mean working from home. I mean literally their home, their children, they've made that be their main focus, right? And that's fine. But at the same time, I would also encourage you to still keep up with the current trends in business or work. There's nothing more frustrating, I'm sure, than to have your kids all be grown and raised, and then you're back into the job market and you have no clue of what's going on, no clue about technology. And now, especially at a time where information is accessible, it's not that you're losing focus of being at home with your kids. If you read articles or you subscribe to trade or periodical subscriptions, nothing at all. You go and read and you find out still what's going on in your particular industry or area of interest. Give you an example, LinkedIn, or whether it be on your resume, still finding out how to be compatible with what's going on. So at any point in time, you can still have that resume there, whether you're volunteering in your community, and still make sure that it makes sense and it keeps up with the current trends. And let's say that you have fallen out for a little bit in terms of what's going on outside of the home. You can always take classes, take online classes, in-person classes in your community to still keep up with what's going on, okay? Because some of us, depending, may not be really afforded that opportunity to just go back in the job market. There's times where I know people have complained that, hey, this person is, back from raising their kids for 15 years and they're the director. But some of us are not afforded that opportunity. Come on now, somebody. You gonna leave and then we come back. It don't work like that for all of us, okay? So we want to make sure that as much as possible that we're keeping up with the pace. Now, listen, I've been an entrepreneur for over 15 years. And my work does call me many times to do consulting work for other organizations, and that's a great thing, okay? But on my resume, and I still have a classic resume, of course it does show consulting work, but at all times I want to make sure that the language is comparable to what other employers, whether that be, like I said, a straight up employer or a recruiter, any of those kinds of things. You want to be mindful, and of course, an entrepreneur's resume looks different than somebody who may be working in corporate America or working a regular job or any kind of job, of course, but you should still be mindful of how this will reflect on any kind of written narrative, okay? And that's really, really important to keep up with the pace with technology. Maybe you weren't using technology in your last job or your last opportunity, right? But go and look, because I tell you, every 6 months it seems like there's new technology on the horizon. And that's a great thing, okay? But you don't want to feel like you're so left behind. And nowadays, again, information is very accessible. So go and find out what's trending in your industry. What current trends or, even beyond buzzwords, but what's really trending in your industry? What are people who are doing it well? What are they doing? And it's not that you're emulating them. Even if you do, that's fine too. It does create a track record of success, a template, if you will. But of course, you want to make it your own. But what is going on in your industry? What is going on in your field? So you want to keep up with that to make sure that you're defining what you're doing. Many folks feel like, oh my gosh, I have nothing to say or nothing to write on my resume or nothing to share in my bio. There's always something that you can put in your bio, your resume, that's comparable, what's meaningful in today's environment. You have to dig a little deep, perhaps even hire a consultant, if you will, or, begin to research what you can put there, what you can share, okay, to prospective opportunity, whether that be a recruiter or whether that be, even an opportunity for folks who want to see how they can bring you on or see how you can participate in what they're doing. Very, very important. And the next thing, guys, I want you to do, the next strategy is to take advantage of internal and external momentum. What do I mean by that? How many of us know, right? Sometimes even like things like our energy level. Try to do things when you have the most energy, right? At the most opportune time it is for you. I always tell my kids, listen, I'm not doing that right now because my energy level, whether that be the time of day, I'm invited to various places a lot, whether that be speaking opportunities, work opportunities, but I have to be mindful, how does this fit within what I'm doing? How does this make sense? And of course, your external momentum, what are the current trends? We talked about that a little bit before, but how can I take advantage of something that's going on externally? Give you an example. So whether, every single month we know that there's some type of monthly focus, whether it be Breast Cancer Awareness Month or whatever the cause that you have passion for, at some point in time, whether it's a day, a week, or a month, that may be the opportune time for you to kind of get out there and share what you're doing, see how what you're doing fits within the grand scheme. So take advantage of that, guys. Take advantage of it. Go online and Google your cause, Google your passion, and find out, when are they celebrating? So when are they highlighting these things, and take advantage of that. What I like to do oftentimes for myself and my clients is to do a SWOT analysis. A SWOT analysis that stands for SWOT, which is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. This way you can clearly see and chart out for yourself what those internal and external opportunities are, and how you can best employ and execute them in your business and your life. Because trust me, they're all there. And this leads me to the last piece for today, and something that we're actually going to be revisiting in all 3 parts, is to create a strategic map for your business and your life. Super important. These policies, these values, if you will be those policies and values that will help govern your life and your business. And it isn't that I'm saying that you can't be spontaneous and a free spirit. What I'm saying, it gives you the power and the freedom to do such. What do I mean by that? Listen, it's just like driving. I love driving with the wind in my hair, okay? But there are lanes, there are stop signs, so I can truly enjoy it without worrying about somebody crashing into me. Come on now. So these policies, these values help us govern ourselves. And then we clearly see what fits and what doesn't fit. Okay? We see if there's an opportune time to have an exception. Okay? Those things that perhaps may not look like it fits necessarily, but it is an opportunity. But if we didn't have a plan or a map, we wouldn't even know. Okay? I always tell clients, be careful of chasing those red herrings. Be careful of chasing the red herrings. There's a company, and they sell denim. And they were looking for a brick and mortar space, although they have a really thriving online presence, but they wanted to have a brick and mortar. So what they ended up doing was creating a coffee shop. Now, the coffee shop might look like something that would be considered a red herring, but because they had such a good, strong map, that when they considered the coffee shop, although they had never thought about it before, but the zone and the brick and mortar space after the clothing line, after the brick and mortar line, just really was not meeting the needs of the community. They felt, let's go into the coffee business. And one side was the coffee business, and one side was the denim business. But here's the thing, the coffee business, people would sit and they would enjoy coffee and end up spending money on the denim. And in fact, they were so curious about the coffee and all of that, they ended up creating a second clothing line, kind of a coffee line, if you will, with the name of their coffee brand on some of these shirts. And so they have 2 side-by-side brands that really operated as kind of one place, and it ended up being very successful. But had they not had a plan, they would not have even known to whether, go that route or not. So there are times, of course, you have a plan and you stick to it, but you also are able to see what could possibly fit or what may never fit, right? So that's super, super important. And we're going to go through this piece during all 3 parts of this series. So guys, I am definitely excited that you guys could drop in here with me. I wanted to do this live, but you know what though? Guys, I went with the flow, and that's something that I'm going to talk about in part 2. So guys, if you have any questions, go on over to my website at www.sadedennis.com and go and sign up for our newsletter. And you can find out ways how we can work together, because I want to help you. I want to help you have the business and life that you deserve. So until next time, guys, be great, be fabulous, and I'll see you next time.